Some breaking news. Here's a look at what the West Coast looks like. On your left-hand side, that's our Fox affiliate KTTV, and those are protesters in Los Angeles with their hands up in, I don't know, probably 11:22 here on the West Coast now, and all is quiet there. There have been some chants. There have been people walking around, but for the most part, there has been zero trouble in Los Angeles, and there were tens of thousands of people out marching on the streets today. On the right-hand side, you see Portland, Oregon, and those are police closest to you on the other side of the fence, and you have protesters on the far side of the fence. For a couple of nights now, they've been tussling over that fence. Police saying they do not want these protesters to get near that fence, near the Justice Center. Last night, they set off some smoke bombs, some tear gas. Tonight, the police have vowed not to do any of that. And aside from a dumpster fire that we do not know how it started, the protesters have been on their best behavior. We will check back in as those two cities go through the evening. Meantime, national security amid national protests. The Drug Enforcement Administration recently obtained new authority, allowing them to conduct, quote, covert surveillance to assist law enforcement activities in cities that are seeing mass protests. In a memo obtained by BuzzFeed News, the acting administrator of the DEA asked the Department of Justice that it be, quote, designated to enforce any federal crime committed as a result of protests over the death of George Floyd. DEA requests this authority on a nationwide basis for a period of 14 days. Let's bring in Aaron Wyth. He is the director of the Freedom Foundation. So the DEA has been given authority to do covert surveillance on the protesters around the country. Your thoughts on that, Aaron?
Yeah, Trace, I mean, the DEA, they really have nothing to do with riots, and that's why they need the AG's office so that they can act. So I don't know of any drugs going on at these riots. But the Trump administration, they're under a lot of pressure to act as liberal cities are basically burning down. Local police, they don't have the authority to go and make arrests and enforce the law. They're not protecting citizens, and they can't even protect themselves. I think the feds are right to step in here and go and prevent these riots from happening any further and progressing.
Yeah, I just want to put these, maybe we're not going to put them on the screen. I want to mention these. Here are the 4 temporary powers they're talking about here, Aaron. Conduct, for 14 days, by the way, there we are, conduct covert surveillance, share intelligence, intervene to protect participants and spectators, engage in investigative and enforcement activity. Pretty broad, Aaron. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the surveillance piece is the most worrying. And as you mentioned, it notes that it's limited to federal crimes and riots, but that's really broad. And frankly, it's a slippery slope. There's no accountability for this surveillance. And listen, I think that these Antifa thugs need to go and be arrested. But the DEA are overreaching with civilian surveillance. We at the Freedom Foundation, we fight for people's freedoms every day. And as I mentioned, this is a slippery slope. Once you take away people's freedoms, they're next to impossible to get back.
You know, it's interesting because the police would say kind of the opposite. They looked at these things and they've painted this picture the past 3 or 4 days to us, saying that these agitators, these outside groups, have done things like place bricks at various protest sites. There's no construction around. The bricks have been placed there to use, they believe, in commission of crimes, to place bottles, to place some incendiary devices around there. And what they want to do is they want to kind of tap in and find out why these things are happening, who's doing them, and if this is a possible means to do that, would it make it any more amenable to you, Aaron?
No, I don't think so. I think that I want to get these people arrested as much as anybody. And it's easy to say that we should do everything in our power to go and get them. But we're a free society. And once you start spying on civilians, we start to lose those freedoms that are promised to us. And that's why I think that we need to give the police and the feds the authority to go and arrest these people, because that's what needs to happen. We need to go get them on the streets.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about this being politicized, right? A lot of people saying, oh, the ACLU come out saying this is the Trump administration doing this. But the truth is, you know, this happened under the Obama administration a couple of times. It happened during the Ferguson riots back a few years ago. And it also happened during the Freddie Gray riots in Baltimore a few years back as well. So it's not a one-sided political thing here. Both sides have kind of done this type of thing in the past, Aaron.
Yeah, we need to do it when it's necessary. When you have people breaking the laws, we need a law enforcement that can go and enforce them. That's not what we're getting out of these cities that are mostly governed by liberals. And it's absolutely right that the federal government step in and go and protect citizens, protect police officers, and protect these businesses that are being looted. It's madness.
Yeah. What about the concerns? I mean, are you concerned about the protesters themselves? I know we're talking about big picture here. What about the protesters themselves? Are you concerned about them, some of them possibly being smeared because of this type of evidence being collected?
Yeah, I am in some ways, but I think most of the protesters are peaceful. They have agitators that are going in there. It's been well documented that there's a lot of people that may or may not be paid to be there and cause trouble. I mean, I saw videos today of protesters protecting businesses because they don't want that to be the point of these protests.
Yeah, Aaron Wyth, it's all good information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Trace.
Yeah, I just want to kind of swing back here to Los Angeles because we've seen the camera kind of back and forth swing around a little bit and see people with their hands up. It's our understanding there's no arrests underway right now, and there might be some, but we're not really seeing the police out with the hand ties that we've seen over the past several nights. I mean, Los Angeles has actually arrested a lot more people than New York, in the thousands. People are being put on buses, taken down, processed, and then given some sort of penalty and then let go. We don't seem to be seeing any arrests tonight. So when you see people with their hands up, that appears to be part of the protest. All appears calm. We'll keep checking in on the West Coast and any other breaking news that comes by. Up next, you see all the people gathered together. You see some of them with masks, some of them without. The question becomes, is this a spreader event, these protests around the country, for COVID-19? We'll talk to a doctor with some very keen insight on what we might all need to be advised of next.